تقدر تشوف بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Do you remember the characterization of Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, characterization of certainty? The characterization, we said there are three things, three characterizations of certainty. It has three characterizations. Do you remember them? Number one, we said the certainty has three characterizations. Number one, kashifiyya. Qat' has a revealing power. When you reach qat', certainty, then as if you are saying that I know this ruling that I discovered now, it is exactly what is in God's book. This is kashifiyya. After the kashifiyya, the purpose, muharrikiyya, that it sends you, since you reached the level of certainty, okay, and you know it is revealing in what is God's book, now it's time to move, to act upon that. And the third one, what did we say? What was the third one of? Which is very important. What is dhatiyya? Something dhatiyya. Hujjiyya. Hujjiyyatul qat'. Hujjiyyatul qat'. Okay? Hujjiyya means what? The authority. The authority. Meaning that qat', certainty becomes hujjah upon you. It would hold you responsible. Holding you responsible. This is the meaning of hujjiyya. Holding you responsible. How can I explain that further? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. How can I explain it further? Hujjiyya has two branches. Is divided into two branches. So if you want to define hujjiyya, you say hujjiyya has two branches. Branch A is what? Munajjiziyya, exactly. Munajjiziyya, meaning that once you know something is wajib and then you choose not to do it, then you are liable for what? Punishment. Okay? And mu'adhdhiriyya, when you reach qat', certainty that something is halal or something is not wajib, then you have the right not to practice it because you reached qat'. Then if it turns to be wajib, Allah will not hold you responsible because you tell him, I had certainty, qat'. I reached qat' that this was not wine. I knew that this was water. Now, how do I know when I left to the bathroom and I came back, somebody changed it into wine? This is mu'adhdhiriyya. He says, no, because you knew that this was not wine, then we are not going. This means we're going to punish you. This means we are not going to punish you. Now there is another result, which we're going to study today, which is jawazul isnad ila al-mawla. So this is A, this is B, and this is C. Let me delete A and B to make room. So this is A. These are the three characterization of qat'. What were they? The three characterizations. Number one was kashifiyya. That it reveals what is in God's book. Number one is muharrikiyya. It sends you. The power of sending you, making you move to practice it. Muharrikiyya. Number three is hujjiyya. And this hujjiyya is divided into A, B, and C. A, munajjiziyya. B, mu'adhdhiriyya. C, jawazul isnad, which is today's what topic? Okay. What do we mean by jawazul isnad? جواز الإسناد means if you are certain, if you become certain that this is the ruling in God's book, then what? Then you can attribute this ruling to whom? To God. Write it down so I can explain it. Once you become certain that this ruling is in God's book, then you can attribute this ruling to God. You can say, God said this. Jawaz means permissibility. Al-Isnad, to give reference to God. You say, God wants this, or God does not want this. Only when, in what case? Only when you can say that?
When you have certain.
Exactly. Only when you reach certainty. When you are certain. قطع. Only in that case. But if you are not, if you don't have قطع, you can't say, God said this. You can't give reference to God. Only when you reach this stage. Now, again, when you reach the level of certainty, you can attribute it to God. You can say, God said wine is, not me, God said wine. When I reach the level of certainty, I can attribute things to God. Now, what type of qat' is this? Is it tariqi or mawdu'i? If you remember last week's class.
Tariqi is 100%. Mawdu'i is more.
No. Mawdu'i is 100%. Both 100%. But there is a difference between them.
The way you start with the subject, right?
Oh,
Exactly.
If
The ruling first is.
So it's not tariqi. It's what?
Mawdu'i.
Tell me why it's mawdu'i.
Subjective first, I guess.
Exactly. If you are certain, so your own certainty is a subject here.
It becomes a certain.
Exactly. Once you reach the level of certainty, you can say this is mawdu'i. Whereas tariqi, no. Tariqi is revealing. Already it's there. It's already there, you are revealing it. Mawdu'i, you are reaching to the level of certainty. The example that I gave, what was the example that I gave?
You give the wine, right?
The example I gave, something becomes wajib. Before that, it's not wajib. And that one depends on you.
Hajj.
Exactly, Hajj. When you become mustati', it becomes wajib. Before that, it's not wajib. Okay? The same with this. When you yourself become certain, then this qat' is tariqi, is not mawdu'i. This type of qat' is tariqi because your knowledge is considered there, plays a role. Your certainty plays a role. Once you are certain, you can say, this is what God said.
So isn't that mawdu'i?
No. That is mawdu'i. What did I say?
You said tariq.
No, sorry. Mawdu'i, because your knowledge plays a role in this. You have to reach the level of certainty so you can attribute that to God. So this type of isnad, giving reference to God, when it reaches the level of qat', and that type of qat' is called mawdu'i. Okay? Whenever you yourself reach certainty, then you can attribute to God. Now,
What does the word isnad mean just by itself?
isnad, giving reference to God, saying God said this, attributing it to God. Now, if someone else says, God said this,
You can't
this
count.
is tariqi, not mawdu'i. Therefore, you cannot say that this is definitely what God. If someone, thiqa, one person, trustworthy, he comes and he says, God said this. You cannot say after that, yes, God says this. You can say, someone says God said this.
Because it's an imara.
Exactly, imara. For him, he can say God said this, but not for you. Not for you. Why? Because this is dalil dhanni. His evidence is not qat'i. His evidence, because he's one person, is dhanni. So you cannot depend on dalil dhanni to say God said this. Are you with me? However, but if, let's say, your knowledge comes from consensus, many narrators, which there is no possibility for them to be wrong or to be mistaken or to be confused. Because many, one in this city, one in that city, one saw the Prophet on this day, the other saw, so different occasions, so impossible for them to be. Many evidences, not one. In that case, the qat' is developed here. And then you can say, God said this. Okay? Now, let's go back to something which is two opinions among the scholars. They have two main opinions. I spoke about them last time. One opinion is called maslak. Maslak means method. Okay, method. Or theory. Or if you will, theory. Call it theory or method. Okay, either theory or method. Maslak. Maslak, haqqul ta'a. Versus what? Maslak, قاعدة قبح العقاب بلا بيان. These are two theories struggling with each other. Maslak. قاعدة means the axiom or the rule. قبح, the ugliness of punishment without telling you. Without telling you whether this is halal or haram, God is not going to punish you. And this has been taken from the Quran. Actually, this is ayah in the Quran. وَمَا كُنَّا مُعَذِّبِينَ حَتَّى نَبْعَثَ رَسُولًا. We don't hold you accountable unless we tell you. We send you a messenger.
I'm sorry, Zaid, can you repeat the translation like by words?
By words of this one or that one?
The second one.
The other one, the theory that states that it is ugly to punish someone without clarifying for him or her the situation, or without telling him. It's ugly. It's unfair. Qabih means unfair. God would not do that. God says, I would tell you the rulings. If I want you to do something, I have to explain that to you. While this one is the opposite of that. What does this one mean? Who can tell me? We spoke about this one in the past.
Theory to obey God's what God wants.
حق الطاعة. What does حق الطاعة mean?
His
The right of
right of his worshipping, or right of his
obedience. 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 Right of obedience. What does it state? What does right of obedience state?
That if you're even in doubt, you obey him.
Exactly. It means that God is the owner. And therefore, even if I speculate that He wants me to do something, I still have to do it or not to do it. To do that. Because He's Mawla. Mawla. He's my owner. And I have to satisfy Him at any account. By all accounts, by all means, I have to satisfy Him. Okay? Therefore, even if there is a little bit of speculation that this could be wajib, though I did not hear anything from him, no message came from him, but maybe, my aql says, maybe this was left out. Maybe I did not get the message. The message is there. I didn't get it. So I have to do that. I have to practice it. While this one versus that one, this one says no. He says in the book, this is the opinion of the majority. I would say 80%. This is the opinion of 20%, and our author is part of those 20%. This is the opinion of Mirza Naini. If you want to know who Wahid al-Bihbahani, Al-Wahid al-Bihbahani. Those are the one who stresses this theory. Al-Mirza al-Naini. Those are iconic figures in Ilm al-Usul. Iconic figures. This one is Shahid al-Sadr. Shahid al-Sadr and his school, his students, who some of them exist today.
So the ones that believe in the second one don't believe in the first one.
No,
They don't believe.
they are conflicting. I said, see, verses. Conflicting each other.
Okay.
This one stresses cautious. That even if you have a speculation, you cannot apply bara'ah, exemption. You have to apply what? Ihtiyat. You have to practice it. But because what if? Because the aql says you have to satisfy him 100%. 100%.
Why can't it be both?
Huh?
Why can't it be
You
both?
can't, even this or that. We will come to the applications of them now. These are not just theories, these have applications. When we come to the rulings, to the fatwa, this one has an application which is tougher than this one. This one is tasamuh, tolerance. This is more tolerant than this. This one says, unless I establish that he wants from me, then I have to do it. This one says, no, you don't have to establish, even if you speculate. Even if there is ihtimal, probability, that he wants this, then you must do it. So this one is much tougher than that one. And this one has followers and advocates, and this one has followers and advocates, which we'll see very soon.
Shahid al-Sadr, he would be of the opinion that between the Jumu'ah and Dhuhr prayer that you should pray both.
We have to look at his book. Now this is theory.
Oh,
But when you come to the book is different.
I see.
There is a difference between theory and fatwa. Okay? He says, Al-Munajjaziyya, which means what? This is binding, and if you don't do it, you're going to be punished, applies not only to certainty, but applies to what also? Applies to what? Dhann, doubt. Even if you have doubt that this is what you want, even if the doubt is 5%, still you have to do that. This one says no. Munajjiziyya applies to certainty. In cases of doubt, you don't. You don't do them. You are exempted. So this is the difference between them. Now we come to the third part of tonight's lesson, which is going back to what we studied many weeks ago, which is the adillah. Adillah. These are the evidences. Al-adillah. Write the Arabic and what type, how many types of adillah we have? Main adillah.
4 or 5.
Good answer.
There is 2 divisions.
That's what I meant.
One division says the dalil has to be secure. The other says non-secure. محرز. غير محرز. Okay? Now, the muhraz, how many types of dalil we have when it comes under this category? That the evidence is secure. Meaning, what does it mean to be secure? It has roots there.
Quran or Hadith.
Exactly. It has roots there.
And I thought ijma was the other.
Yeah, it could be. But what are the main? I'm speaking about the umbrella. What is the main? One of them is ad-dalil al-aqli. The other is ad-dalil al-what? Al-shar'i. Okay? Dalil aqli and dalil shar'i. Now, let's forget about the aqli for a while. Okay? And speak about ad-dalil al-shar'i. Okay? Speak about dalil al-shar'i here. Dalil al-shar'i. Dalil al-shar'i, how many types it has? The shar'i here. How many? Let me make the branch here. Let's do it here. Let's do here. Dalil shar'i. Ad-dalil al-shar'i. Religious. How many types it has, Dalil al-Shar'i?
Quran and Hadith.
No, bigger definition. Don't go into small details. It has Dalil Qat'i and Dalil what? Dhanni. Exactly. Dalil Qat'i and Dalil Dhanni. What do we mean by qat'i? What's the translation of qat'i? What does it mean? When someone asks you, you've been talking about certainty for 500 years. What do you mean by it?
When there is no doubt, no room for doubt.
Exactly. Meaning that it reveals the ruling in what way? In a certain or definite way. Okay? The kashf for it, the kashf of this dalil, the revelation of the dalil, when it reveals, it reaches the level of certainty beyond doubt. Beyond that. Such as what? Can you give me an example?
Quran.
Siyan.
The example of it is I'll put the example here. Al-khabar al-mutawatir. The hadith that is frequented, meaning the hadith has been said by a big number of narrators. This is mutawatir. To the extent that leaves no room for what? For doubt or hesitation. We know those big number of, they cannot sit in a room and have a conference and say, well, let's lie. No, they can't. Because one of them in the east, the other in the west. One of them came this era, the other came that era. So it's impossible for them to sit and congregate and decide to lie. Mutawatir. Okay?
But say you can have fake hadith that's been...
No. Fake hadith comes from one way. Mutawatir comes from different sources. Not one source. Fake comes from one source. Mutawatir has, this is the Prophet, many ways to the Prophet. They all say this is the Prophet said. So it cannot be. Aql cannot accept that this is fabrication. So that is the dalil al-qat'i, beyond any doubt. So we know it's written in God's book, and this is what God wants you to do. Dalil al-dhanni is one. What is dalil al-dhanni?
That is doubt.
Huh? Is it qat'i? It's not qat'i.
It's not 100%.
It's dhanni. But it's still dalil. And it's still secure. This one's secured and this one is secured.
Why is that one secret?
Why is that? Let me talk about it and then I tell you why it's secure. What is the example of that? خبر الثقة. خبر الثقة. The report of a trustworthy narrator. Trustworthy narrator. But he's only one. Why do we call it dhanni, not qat'i?
Because they still, even so, the person is thiqa, he can make it.
Exactly. There is room for what? Mistakes. While for this one, there is no room for mistake. This one has room for mistake. Okay? This is why it's dhan. It's dhan. It's not qat'. It has not reached 100. Though we respect him, good guy, but he could be saying something wrong. Okay? So dhanni. But why it is muhraz? Why we don't put it under this, non-secure? Why we still here in the secured one?
We never accept anything because most of it's going to fall under them. There's very little narrations that are not what.
Because Sharia, God says, accept it from him and give it the level of this one. Although it is not. It's not in the level. We give a credibility to it. We give value to it. Although it's dhanni. And dhan is different than qat'. But through a hadith, says when someone thiqa brings you hadith, don't reject him. Accept it from him. Though he is one, and there is room. We say God, but there is room. Maybe this guy, we respect him, but it's only one. He says, okay, I know it's only one. I am giving the credibility, giving him the value.
So one of the A'imma would have said that this person is thiqa. In that sense.
Of course. He's thiqa. How do you know he's thiqa? We study that in Ilm al-Rijal. We study his position with the Imams. How did the Imam deal with them? Their history, their biography. Did they lie? Did they cheat? So we know. We reach a conclusion that he's thiqa. And then he brings one hadith. We can't find something identical to him. We can't find. He's only one. Sharia is accepted from him. Accept that and give him the status of what? Qat'i. Though he's dhanni. So this is why we call it secure. Now, secure versus what?
Insecure.
Now, faqih, when he comes to give a fatwa, to give a ruling on one subject, what does he search for first and foremost?
Evidence.
Huh?
Evidence.
What type of evidence?
Secured evidence.
What type of secure evidence? Go to the details.
Quran and Hadith.
Give me the title of it.
Oh.
دليل
قطعي. Number one, he's after this. He's trying to find dalil qat'i. Why he tries to find dalil qat'i?
It's the closest one to.
Exactly, to make sure that I'm hitting the target. I don't want to give wrong answer to people. I want to give the best answer to the best of my ability. So I have to find dalil qat'i. First I have to find dalil qat'i. In case he could not find dalil al-qat'i to give an answer regarding this particular case or ruling. He doesn't know whether this is halal. I could not find dalil al-qat'i. I searched a lot. I could not find. Then the turn goes to what? After dalil al-qat'i.
Reason.
He goes to this one. So if he could not find khabar mutawatir, he could not find ayah in the Quran, and the ayah that has been translated and explained by whom? By Ma'soom. Because sometimes the ayah has different meanings. So how do we know God wants this meaning? I tell you something. There is an opinion now that in Surah An-Nisa, when God says there is a woman, she revolts against her husband, rebels, doesn't listen, and she does bad stuff. First, عظوهن موعظة. Second, حجروهن, don't sleep with them. Third, what is it? Which makes a lot of noises in America and the West. اضربوهن. اضربوهن, there is a debate now. It's one verse in the Quran and one verb. There is a debate. Some scholars, they say, yes, اضربوهن, hit, physical. But, some people say with miswak, something lighter than this. It's a disciplinary action, just to...
Nabi Zakaria did that, right?
Huh?
Didn't Nabi Zakaria do that to his wife? He gave her...
With his wife? I wasn't there.
I heard about that.
That's why he didn't speak for
He
3
didn't want to hit her hard, so...
Maybe. Others, they say, no, اضربوهن means psht, turn away from them and move. This is a dead case. And they give example in the Quran, that in the Quran, for instance, وَإِذَا ضَرَبْتُمْ, they bring many verses in the Quran that gives this meaning. It gives that walk away. So they say walk away. So there is a debate. Now who gives me the answer? The Ma'soom. We go to the Ma'soom and tell him, listen, this verb is controversial. This ayah is controversial. So what is the right translation? He says, this is the right translation. So it could be dalil qat'i, it could be khabar mutawatir, it could be ayah in the Quran that has been translated and explained by Ma'soom. Not my own translation, no. My own translation is not dalil qat'i. Neither dhanni. It's a fabrication. I have to see what the Prophet or the Imam. So he searches for this. If he could not find this, then he goes to khabar al-thiqa. Now, if neither this nor that, neither he could find dalil qat'i nor dhanni. In case of cigarettes, no hadith. You cannot find a single hadith about smoking because it did not exist. Did not exist. How do you know? No ayah, no mutawatir, no khabar thiqa, no. Where do you go?
Seeking practical principles.
How do you go to aql? Aql needs a procedure. Aql does not anarchy. It needs a procedure. Where do you go?
Practical.
Exactly. Here, you go to, again they call them dalil. See, it is evidence, but it is non-secure, and it is the practical procedures. Practical procedures. Or practical principles also they call them. principles or procedures. But it is also dalil. But what type of dalil, my friends? غير محرز, non-secure. Why do we call it non-secure?
Because it can be and it cannot be reach the wording of God.
Because the purpose of it, see, what is the purpose of this? The purpose is to do our best to see what is in His book there. To reach the level of revelation, kashf. So the purpose of creating these is to allow us to see what is in His book. While the purpose of this is not to see what is in His book, is to know what is you and my duty here. In doubt of what? In case of what? Doubt. In case of doubt, okay? When we could not find neither this nor that, neither this type of dalil, which is certainty, nor dalil, which is a speculation or dhanni, okay? Suppositional, then I go to the non-secure. Non-secure means the Sharia is not concerned to find the right answer there. It is concerned about getting you out of the state of confusion and hesitation, and finds you a way out. So it becomes to show you your wazifa, your duty. Your wazifa and your duty. This is why, see Habibi, look at this, please, 1 second. It's called practical. What does practical mean? I can show you practical way out. Not necessarily what is in the book there. Do you see the difference? So what's the difference between secured dalil and non-secured dalil? Or between dalil and, although this one we call it dalil, but most typically we call it asl. What is the difference between dalil and asl?
Dalil gets us closer to Lawh al-Mahfuz, while
Dalil wants you to know what is there. Hukm al-Shar'i in God's book. Asl, no. Asl says, listen, you could not, you don't know. We could not. We tried to know. We tried to. Now, the second step is to get out of it, is to know whether I should practice this or not. I should drink this or not. I should eat this or not. I should do this or not. It gives me the solution. Practical solution. This is why we call it practical procedures or principles. Such as what? By the way, which one comes first? This one or that one? Always this one. In the presence of this one, there is no meaning for that one. Throw it in the ocean. When you get this one, even if it is dhanni, you don't go to that one. Now, what do we call, Dr. Ali, what do we call khabar al-thiqa? It is dalil dhanni, but what is the nickname for it? It has a nickname. Exactly, amara. Amara. Amara means sign. Amara means a mark, alama, mark, indication. Okay? So even if I have amara, which is not very powerful, but it comes before this. Why? Because this is secured and this is non-secured. And always I opt to the secured if I have it before I go to the non-secured. So give me a couple of examples on this. Absolutely. Asalatul hil. In case asalatul hil means everything is halal unless ta'lam. You know, ta'lam means what? How do you translate or interpret ta'lam? What does ilm mean? Knowledge. What type of knowledge? What's the level of it? 100%. 100%. Everything is halal. Asalatul tahara. Everything is كل شيء لك طاهر. Again, until you know what type of knowledge you know, 100%. 100%. Any questions so far?
Say, دليل ظني, is that most of the time considered موضوعي? Is it most of the time subjective?
دليل الموضوعي, it is subjective because it's not you. You are depending on someone else.
For most دليل ظني, would it be considered موضوعي? If it's ظني, then
Yes, yeah, موضوعي, of course. Yeah, okay. Then, this is called الدليل الظني المعتبر. Why do we call it معتبر? معتبر. المعتبر. معتبر means credible. Means Sharia gives اعتبار, value to this. Although Sharia says don't follow dhann, don't say God said this unless you know God said this. But because he is thiqah, we give value to it. We call it mu'tabar. Mu'tabar means credible. Credible. Okay? And it plays the same role that this one plays. See? When we give i'tibar to it, credibility or credit to it, to this one, it becomes like this. The level of this. Okay? Now, here, what time? Should we go into another subject? That subject is long. We need, huh?
Stop here is better.
Stop here. وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. Yes, Sister Tahira, go ahead.